Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true.
Opposition astonished by shooting incident at Nationwide. The People's National Party (PNP) said it is astonished by the reports of a shooting incident at Nationwide premises in St. Andrew Friday afternoon. We express our profound relief that there was no reported physical injuries during the incident and extended our heartfelt sympathies to the staff, operators of Nationwide, and affected businesses, the PNP said in a statement. The opposition added that Friday's incident is particularly disconcerting after an employee at the news agency narrowly escaped a gun attack while he was driving to work in February of this year. The PNP went on to urge the Jamaica Constabulary Force (JCF) to launch a swift and comprehensive investigation into these attacks of violence. We implore anyone with information regarding the motive behind these incidents to immediately share their crucial information with the police, the statement read. The PNP added, the alarming high levels of violence and crime in Jamaica are unacceptable and creates an environment of fear and insecurity for our people. The government bears the paramount responsibility for creating a safe and secure country for all Jamaicans. They must equip the JCF with all necessary resources to effectively prevent and control crime and violence. The opposition also called on law-abiding citizens to join us in condemning these attacks and demand that the government takes decisive action to provide a safe and secure environment for all residents. Clarendon man attacked while taking 7-year-old son home. A man was attacked, chopped and shot to death while bringing his 7-year-old son home from a wake at McDonald District in Crooked River, Clarendon on Thursday night. The deceased has been identified as 38-year-old Fitzroy Ricketts, otherwise Kochui, a farmer of the district. It was reported that around 9:40 p.m., Ricketts and his 7-year-old son were at a wake in the community. The son fell asleep during the event and requested to be taken home. Police said Ricketts and the child went home, but upon pulling his gate, the father was accosted by several men who opened gunfire at him. He ran into his yard and was chased into the bushes, where he was killed. The child ran back to the wake and made an alarm. Residents notified the police, who, with the help of several committee members, searched the muddy terrain and found Ricketts' body in the bush about 150 meters from his dwelling in the dense vegetation. He was found suffering from chop wounds to the neck and that what appeared to be gunshot wounds to the head. He was clad in blue jeans trousers, a gray sweater-type shirt, and a black and white pair of Adidas sneakers. The body was taken to the Mapen Hospital, confirmed dead, and later removed to the morgue. Man who robbed entertainer Kipridge home given suspended sentence. Kemar Jones, the man who pleaded guilty to stealing items from the entertainer Marlon Burkett's home, has been sentenced to 6 months imprisonment, suspended for 2 years. Jones, 22, who had pleaded guilty to housebreaking and larceny, was sentenced on Friday in the St. Catherine Parish Court. The court was told that about 10:45 a.m. on March 11, the entertainer's home in Portmore, St. Catherine was broken into by Jones. A Rolex watch valued at US $15,000, a gold chain valued at US $12,000, and sunglasses valued at US $450, along with US $15,000 and card $300 in cash were stolen. Jones was subsequently held after some of the stolen items were recovered in downtown Kingston. He was represented by Attorney-at-Law Kamisha Harrison. Finance Ministry says SSL fraud investigation is being funded by the proceeds of crime, not taxes. The Financial Investigations Division (FID) has sought to clarify that the money is being used to fund the Stocks and Securities Limited (SSL) fraud investigation are from assets confiscated on the Proceeds of Crime Act and not taxes. The statement comes as the opposition called on the government to say how much is spending on SSL-related activities. In an address, Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark says the funds come from the FID's work in identifying, restraining, forfeiting and monetizing the proceeds of crime.
The resources that will be used by the FID to finance the extraordinary expenses associated with its investigation into SSL will not be from tax revenues. These extraordinary expenses will be funded from the proceeds of assets confiscated from wrongdoers by the FID pursuant to Jamaica's proceeds of crime legislation. This amount has been earmarked to 1. Fund the expansion of the building occupied by the FID, and, as I mentioned, to fund the extraordinary expenses incurred by the FID in the SSL fraud investigation. Now, with respect to the expansion of FID's building, there are capital works that are planned to expand the building to accommodate a doubling or more than doubling of the size of the FID's establishment from 90 plus staff positions to a staff complement of over 193 positions. The expenses incurred by FSC in regard to SSL are being financed by the FSC from its own resources, inclusive of the $1.8 billion in reserves on its balance sheet. The FSC is not the beneficiary of tax revenues and does not receive resources from the Consolidated Fund.
Security Minister hopeful construction of new police stations will help decrease murders in West Marland. Minister of National Security Dr. Horace Strong says he is hopeful that the construction of 2 new police stations in West Marland will help to further decrease murders in the parish. Speaking after a tour of the work sites at Frome and Little London, the minister said police data indicated a 16% decline in murders in the parish. He said works on the station is progressively well, adding that the construction progress is being closely monitored to make sure they are delivered on time and within budget. Dr. Chung noted the completion of the work at the Frome station is set for July 2024, while work at the Little London station is scheduled for the last quarter of 2024. Construction at the Frome and Little London stations are to a cost of about 200 and 175 million respectively. The projects are being funded by the National Housing Trust, NHT.
They are proceeding at this time at a good pace. Prior, they had some delays in startup, which they have overcome and are moving along now. We are monitoring it very closely because we need the station in West Marland. West Marland is a parish that has seen some increase in criminal activity, and we have had to deploy more personnel in West Marland. And the quality of the station that existed here for many years was way below standards for police officers. Some of them were old houses of different things, old buildings, some I call old bush houses that used to be in cane fields. This wasn't appropriate for police officers. We want to have the men in West Marland in comfortable surroundings. It's a demanding job in West Marland. Fighting crime is not exactly easy. We have seen evolution of criminal activity in the West. There is the emergence of serious gangs in West Marland, which we're aware of, but there's also the growing level of scamming, which have smaller gangs, so to speak, not a big organized gang, but they do as much more damage. But they kill each other much quicker in personal disputes, and people quarreling, family squabbles on a regular basis. And so the police have to be dealing with significant domestic violence as well as heavy criminal gangs and interpersonal quarreling.
Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell